Mount St. Helens is approximately 70 miles north of Portland, Oregon, and 184 miles south of Seattle, Washington, in a sparsely populated area in southwestern Washington. Before the eruption and warning signs, the area around Mount St. Helens was an outdoor adventurer's dream. Plenty of lakes to boat, swim, and fish, summer camps along its shores, hiking for all levels in the mountains and the surrounding valleys. The warning signs were there. Smoke started to rise starting in 1979 and continued through 1980. This smoke consisted of sulfur and steam coming from the mountain below. Bulges and small craters started to appear on the top and the side of the mountain, as seen here. Eventually, cracks started to appear along all sides of the mountain and continued to expand. As seen in this diagram, magma was starting to find its way up from below. On May 18th, a 5.1 earthquake was the first sign of one of the largest landslides of recorded history. Ash and smoke rose to the heights of over 16 miles into the atmosphere in less than 10 minutes. The toxic fumes and volcanic debris sent on a journey that no one knew at the time where it would land. As seen in this next diagram, the whole side of the mountain slid away to allow the escaping material within. Traveling between 110 and 155 miles per hour, approximately 2.9 kilometers cubed, the material raced down the mountain, covering and destroying everything in its path. Over 18,000 acres of forest was destroyed, which would have equaled approximately 4 billion board feet of unusable timber. The flow consisted of volcanic ash, rocks, water from snow, and materials picked up along its route. Streams turned into some of the largest rivers in North America for a few minutes due to all the groundwater and snowmelt. The flow carved out channels down the mountain 50 plus feet deep, and still the flow was well above the original landscape. Over 200 houses were destroyed beyond repair, and it is believed that at least 60 people lost their lives that day. Vehicles, roads, and anything else that got in its way was pushed down the mountain or destroyed along its path. This was a magnificent sight. While many of the trees and plants were killed in the original blast, plants and trees that were left standing were covered in ash, mud, and chemicals from the volcano, which killed many more of them. New river paths were formed, while others were filled with dirt and silt. Pumice from hand size to the size of a man was launched from the explosion. The following is an eyewitness account of the eruption.
I knew I had to get out of there. I started down the valley, look at my rearview mirror, and there's just a wall of debris, mud, steam, rocks, boulders, and full-size trees just rolling along. The whole valley's disappearing behind me. Came down here, ended up right here. I was right about here. The whole little area here just disappeared in front of me completely. It's just a big explosion of mud and trees, and I was just blocked off. At that point, I just jumped out of my car, grabbed my film camera, and I went right up there on that ridge where I had a view just over the trees of the mountain, and I could see what was happening. I opened the door and the alarm started going off, but it was kind of the least of my concerns at that point. The ground is moving. I could feel the earthquakes. The wind is being sucked up towards the mountain, towards the blast. By this time you can hear the mountain rumbling. Constant rumbling, grinding, growling sound. I had this huge cloud of material with lightning and blue and purple colors, rumbling to lightning hitting the ground. I had to get away from that.
Let us now look at the ash that was taken to the sky. Ash actually takes several different sizes and forms, with the denser ash falling closer to the mountain and the lighter ash traveling several hundred miles before coming. As seen here, the different sizes of ash will travel differently through the air. The lighter ash will travel farther with the denser ash coming down sooner. Most of the ash is made up of a volcanic glass that has been launched high up into the altitude that will continue sailing for hundreds of miles around. Volcanic ash is both a health worry plus a large burden to normal everyday life. People had to ensure not to breathe in the ash as much as possible. Even if the destruction from the volcano was not enough, ash continued to cover all areas around the mountain to the east, including towns, hospitals, schools, and people's homes. Removing the ash was a very high priority, as it hurt plants, animals, and crippled vehicles and roads. You can see the amount of ash and debris that went up in the air and down from the mountain from this cutout picture of Mount St. Helens. This rock is the largest ever found from a landslide in recorded history. As you can see here, compared to the people, how large it really is. The following are NASA shots of before and after the eruption, where you can see the vegetation in red before compared to the vegetation in red after the eruption. Landslides brought debris of all sizes as shown here. The top of Mount St. Helens was basically turned into a moonscape after all was complete. We will now look at some before and afters where you can see where over 1,000 feet of the mountain disappeared after the eruption. Whole forests were turned into a rocky wasteland. What were pristine lakes were now destroyed and devoid of life. The water rushing down full of chemicals both brought in and took out every living thing in the area. As seen here, man had to cut several canals to release the water. With the rushing waters, silt and dirt piled up along the path of the flow, both causing new rivers to form, plus old ones to get stuck up and create new paths along the way. This changed the outlook of the whole area around Mount St. Helens and the valleys below all the way to the sea. As shown here, the sulfur dioxide levels continue to be high even after the initial eruption and have tapered off with just a few times going back high over the years. The life could not be stopped from reappearing around Mount St. Helens. As started with just a few flowers and a few bushes, it would continue to move to even larger plants, including trees. The U.S. Forest Service actually took on a large project of replanting trees all around Mount St. Helens. This reforestation has helped stabilize the land and allowed for animals of all sizes to return back to the forest where they used to thrive. In the next several pictures you can see that the grass and forests have thrived since the eruption and replanting. You can still see the destruction from the eruption, but nature has continued to take back over the land. And even today, hotspots still are found on the top of Mount St. Helens. Bulges, steam, and sulfur dioxide continue to push up from below. Scientists continue to monitor to ensure the safety of the people around and to help try to predict when the next eruption could or may happen in the near future. As seen from recent family photos, the area around Mount St. Helens is peaceful, but you can still see the destruction that has happened within the last 30 years. The following is a diagram made to show what they believe is still going on below Mount St. Helens today. As seen here, you can see that the Cascade Range has been very active over the last 4,000 years, including several that have gone off in the last 200 years. You can see Mount St. Helens continues to be active even today.